Hey guys, a Nice Tale here, bringing you another knife review. Today we're going to be looking at the Sharp by Design Typhoon. I almost called it the Tempest. Nope, already did that one. This is a pretty attractive knife. This is a pretty uncommon knife. You don't see them popping up too often, at least not in the full-size Typhoon. And as you can see, this knife is in full titanium with the aspirated and polished speed holes, I guess you call them, with the buoy blade shape. With a flipper tab. And this is a Sharp by Design by Brian Nadeau knife. Oh, I should still say it's a frame lock with right hand tip up carry only. So sorry lefties. Let us jump to specifications real quick now. Blade length on this is 3 3/4. The overall length is 8 3/8. Pretty much exactly. And 4 3/4 on the handle. We will make a quick comparison, as is usual, to the, where is it? There you are. It's got magnets stuck to it for some reason. See the Elementum, small knife comparison. See the Conspirator for the full-size knife comparison. As you can see, this is a bigger knife than both. This knife is on the limit of what I'd consider a full-size knife. It's just barely approaching large, but it doesn't carry like that. It doesn't feel like that, so I'm going to call this a full-size knife still. One thing that is to mention here is it's pretty compact when folded up. It's honestly not even as tall as the Conspirator, even though it's got a tiny bit more handle. Now, blade handle ratios are great on this thing. That is something you can expect from Brian Nadeau at Sharp by Design. I really like his work. I really like his designs. I do wish that he would chamfer the clips a little bit more on some of his knives. But most of them, like on this knife, it's not a problem whatsoever. But I just think that would help a little bit with some of the designs where the clip is a little more noticeable. The Apex being one of them. We'll talk about that one. That one has a clip on the spine, which isn't really great, but it's still great design, and it could be better with that. Otherwise, there's really nothing almost ever wrong with his knife designs. They're just great. So, that's in millimeters. Why are you in millimeters? Alright. Handle thickness is just over 1/2 inch. I think it's a little bit wider than the Conspirator, but this is fully contoured. These scales are. Blade stock thickness, 100 and let's call that 160 thousandths, 158. It's not the thinnest blade stock, but it does come down to a pretty reasonably behind the edge of 16, 17 thousandths, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty thin. It's not the thinnest thing ever, but it's pretty darn thin. It slices well. It cuts well. It's definitely all around just a good use blade stock. I don't think I mentioned, but this is M390. And it's made by Riot, which, yeah. That's just great by nature, so that's what it is. Zero out. There you go. 3.92 ounces. So not quite an ounce an inch, but really, really, really close. And more than easily carried. Like, this is not a difficult knife to carry at all. Hardware check. T8 pivot, T8 lock bar, T8 body screw. That's all there is to this knife. It's fantastic, and it's all T8, and I love it. Yes, more of that, please. It's great. So, if you didn't know, Brian Nadeau's designs work off of his detent nub. That's it right in there. It's not a detent ball, and that's what gives it this sort of clickiness. But it also makes it extremely consistent for the detent. This knife can also be reverse flicked off the fuller, though it is a little tight. I've noticed that the full-size one can be. The smaller ones, as I'm failing miserably, there we go. I was in the wrong spot. Had to get the knife in my hand properly. The smaller ones, there are the mini Typhoons. They don't seem to really want to be reverse flicked as readily, at least not for me. So, this knife is on bearings, of course. There is no play, left, right, up, down, anywhere. Pivot lash, and it's pretty darn smooth. This is a little bit tighter. I will note that this is a little bit tighter. It might be because of all the relief cuts in the lock bar, maybe getting rid of some of its flexibility. So it's a little tighter than most, and on the lock bar. So it's not the drop shut, but it is unbelievably smooth. And I could probably get it drop shut. I've noticed that his knives sometimes come a little bit tighter, but if you take them apart and you clean them out, the already great action goes to usually just astonishingly amazing. And yeah. This knife is perfectly dead centered, and you can see with that little almost hidden line there. Yeah. Dead centered, no play. I will mention that the clip has a lot of retention on it. It's a bit stiff. That's the other thing with his knives, why I think maybe just thinning out the clips, maybe just a little chamfering would be good, because they tend to have a lot of retention on them. They work great, but until they break them in a little bit, they can be a little bit stiff. So, ergos. Ergos on this knife are fantastic. They're super neutral. The only thing is, I do feel the clip. And I don't think if you just changed up the clip a little bit, I don't think I would feel the clip. So, it's good, it's great, could be better, is what I'm trying to get at. Other than that, the ergos are super neutral and accommodating, and you have more than enough room to go wherever you want. I will say, if you get it at the wrong angle in this like gorilla grip, right there, I actually find the clip to be actually uncomfortable. Standard gorilla grip, if I get it the way I would normally actually gorilla grip this thing, and for a push cut, it's fine. But if you get it kind of off center a little bit, you can actually feel the clip kind of poke it into you right here. At least in my hand, I should say. Plunge grind is kind of the only weakness we've got here. It seems to end about here. And it's kind of hard to tell. But it's not leaving you nearly as much as it could have been. You know, I would much prefer a more defined plunge grind. Like back here, just straight, clean line. All the life in the world. It's not a huge deal. They did leave you some life, and there's a choil there. Now, the flipper tab, I suppose, could get hit if you're sharpening on a stone, but if you're careful, you should be able to sort of avoid it. I use a sharpen it fixed angle system, and I think I can probably avoid this knife. I haven't actually sharpened this knife. I have used it. I have carried it. It performs wonderfully. It's held up wonderfully. The edge is just immaculate, and it's quite sharp. Haven't needed to. It's the M390's held up. In fact, everything's held up on this knife. I don't even have any snail trails on the clip, which is surprising, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's been great. That's all it is. Oh, stop pin. Mention the stop pin. That's up here, shouldered a bit, and out of the way on the flipper tab. So yeah, not going to cause a problem with sharpening. Not going to cause a problem if you need to increase the size of that choil just a bit. And there's really... The one thing I will admit is, even if the plunge grind could end a little bit sooner, there's a lot of room here, so you could honestly just cut in the choil without really extending too much into the blade edge by making this choil larger. With no problem, I would imagine. So it's accommodating and not a problem at all. These knives came in the buoy, the drop point, and the harpoon shape. I don't have either of those. I would love to get them. I tend to have multiples of Sharp Eye Design knives because I love his designs. This is like the only knife that I have of his designs that I don't have multiples of. So if that tells you anything, yeah, they're good. They're good. You are paying for them. They're OEM by Riot. They're premium. They're like $370. They're not cheap by any means at all. I mean, they can vary. 300. Was this one 350? I don't remember. But they're usually between that 350 to 425-ish realm, depending on what kind of combination of things you get going on if you don't get the Damas steel and stuff. When they show up, because they don't show up, they're popular and for darn good reason. Another touch that I think should bear mentioning is I like how he does his lock bar insert. So it's steel on steel instead of the titanium, but you see it extends out. Not only does it extend out from the lock bar to the tang of the blade, but it extends out, giving you, basically allowing him to create a frame that does not have as much cutout for the disengagement, but giving you more than enough room by extending that out. It's also very well finished, and it's great. I like that. It's a nice touch. Oh, Brian Nadeau's logo, I should probably mention that. It's right there. Along with his, I think I'd call it signature. It's on pretty much all of his designs as far as I know. 6-gun pivot. So, thoughts. Thoughts are, this is amazing. It's frankly probably priced pretty appropriately. It's expensive, but it's probably one of the best possible knives you're going to get out of Riot, which is one of the best knife companies manufacturing out of China. Let's just be real here. The specifications that Brian Nadeau seems to be able to relay to his OEM, being Riot, allows for a level of fit and finish and consistency across his knives that honestly few others can match. Even others using Riot don't always end up being to this level. Honestly, he provides great stuff, he's got great designs, and what he provides allows them to do their very, very best. So if there's any knife you're going to really go for a high price on, and you want to make sure you're getting one of the best sort of premium, lower end of premium, where the premium is sort of like $250 to $450, $500, where you're not getting into the stupid high level territories, this is probably where you're going to get the most ridiculous precision and consistent quality. It just is. And I can appreciate it. I hope others can too. Well, I know others can too. These things are pretty popular. So, it's a great knife. It honestly has no flaw. Oh, no. It's got no fault. It has a flaw that could be slightly better in the clip. Beyond that, it's amazing. And I love it. And his knives in my collection are always some of my favorites. Not my favorite knives in my collection. I have some special knives that are special to me, but these are always just wonderful. That's all I have to say. So if you watched, thanks for watching. If you didn't, well, you're gone. So there's no reason to talk to you, is there? Well, like, subscribe. I'm gonna link his website down in the description. There's not really a link I can link this knife to, unfortunately. Maybe I'll link the mini Typhoon. I know some of those are still floating around. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.